Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. We teased you in the last video. We're right back. Yes, with YST to talk about the 10 worst, according to the players, 10 worst non-void legendaries in the game. YST, are you ready to look at some really bad champions?
From the last one, yeah, I'm more than ready. Let's do it.
Okay, right. Let's just dive straight in. Nope. Well, one slight other thing to mention: this is not including Doom Tower because basically all the Doom Tower champions have horrendous ratings and would dominate this list. So this is excluding Doom Tower legendaries. So yeah, let's go. First, do you want to guess actually one non-Doom Tower?
Non-Doom Tower. I've got one.
Go.
Straight off the top of my head, and it's a pig.
Oh,
Norog.
he's top of the list. Top of the list, Norog.
Oh, is he number one? Oh, let's go.
He's pretty much number one. Yeah, he's pretty dire. His best rating in the game is a 1.8 for Hydra. Pretty dreadful.
Jeez.
Why do you think Norag's that bad, YST? What's going on? Is he not amazing?
The question is, the question should be, why is he a good champion?
He's
This dude is trash, man.
He places block buffs.
Actually, to be fair, I think that's a 5 out of 5 skill.
Yeah, for a rare.
Can you imagine the dudes? They're like, oh, do you know what? I've just seen some sick advert from Raid Shadow Legends. Download now.
Yeah.
Norog, yeah? You see Norog's in loads of the ads. They download, they pull this dude, and they're like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, he's not great at all, man.
You know, I never noticed before. This move is called Ice Pillar. It's nothing to do with ice at all. Where did that come from? Thick skin, Maul. Bizarre. I wonder if he's got lore about living in the ice or something. I don't know. He's a fat, rude, tyrannical warlord. That's right. No, he is from Frost Time. Okay, but yeah, I agree. This guy's dreadful. He basically has one active skill, which is AoE block buffs, which is something epic champions can do. Block active skills A1 is okay, I guess. And then his passive is fine. Bit of immunity. I feel like, what would you change with him? How do we make this guy
Everything.
not dreadful?
I would make it. I'll change everything, man.
Everything. Okay.
Like, you can't have a champion like Ugo in the game. He's doing decreased defense,
Right.
block buffs, cleanses,
Yeah.
heals, revivals, leech. There's just not even a conversation to be had, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You
100%.
know? But block buffs is cool. It's a fundamental debuff that players are looking for.
Mhm.
Just do something like way better with this, right? Add some bonus effects, whatever you have to do. That's cool. I think the passive, be immune to True Fear, maybe counter Torment, bit of utility, maybe give some more.
Probably make him just immune to all of them.
Yeah, like
why not?
decrease the damage taken by all allies if they're under no active buffs. Like, why is that a thing? Like, you want buffs on your allies, don't you?
Yeah, always.
I don't know, man. What would you do?
It's tough. I mean, I'm kind of Ice Pillar. You could give him an AoE freeze, but then again, that's useless for Hydra, which is his best area. So I don't know. And like block active skills is also useless for Hydra. Yeah, I think you need to completely rework him. You either have
He
to
used
say,
to be a new champion. Yeah.
yeah, he basically needs to be a new champ. Yeah, he probably needs another skill. Yeah, he needs a total rework. Honestly, it's pretty
Yeah.
shocking. You could give him like AoE freeze, self counter attack or something. I don't know. Ally protection.
Can you
counter
imagine
attack.
if in like the next patch update they do
Yeah.
Norog, right? And
Yeah.
he becomes the meta nuker for Arena? Like,
No chance.
Can you imagine?
Definitely not happening. No, yeah, he's
Oh.
all out. I think, yeah, I think it's too big of a task for this video. Let us know in the comments, guys. What would you do to save Norog? We both feel like he needs a complete overhaul. That it's
He's
like
beyond
throw him out.
saving.
He visually looks cool, amazing, but I think you need to throw him out, start from scratch. I'd be personally thinking he'd be a cool counter-attacky reflect damage type. Reflect damage sucks, but he's got loads of spikes. He's armored up. He'd be a great, counter-attack, ally protection, tanky up champion, smacking dudes.
Yeah, I
to hit
agree.
him. But I don't know. All right. Oh, why? Okay, I'll let you guess one more, and then I'll tell you the next couple are gonna upset you. Sorry. In advance.
If there's this is unlike the void one. This is a non-void one. So if I see Genzin, the video's ending.
Next up, it's not Gensen. He's got actually pretty decent
my
ratings.
God, for a second, I was about to say, is he actually got bad ratings?
No, he's got decent ones.
I think if there was going to be another one on the list, he was just in Shadowkin. I'm going to say I think Noble might have bad ratings.
Noble? But he got buffed twice, YST. There's no... Yeah, you're right.
I don't think he's that... Oh, yeah, I don't
You're
think he's
right.
that bad, no.
Got buffed twice. Dreadful, dreadful ratings. I actually... I think you're about to say you think he's pretty... I actually think he's pretty all right. I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, I do as well. I don't think he's that bad.
Yeah. I think this one is crazy. So what's he doing? So first up, 3-turn cooldown, AoE, 100%, steal, 50% of everyone's turn meter. If they're under, if he kills someone under fear, true fear decreases his A2. Now, whenever he reduces, or sorry, by any champion, whenever any champion reduces an enemy's turn meter, he's got a 20. That bucks up to 45% chance to fear them. Maybe it should be 50 for just a nice round number, but you know, treat it as 50, I guess. I'd say make it 50 just for the sake of it. But like 50-50, whenever any turn meter is reduced, there's fears. That he could be resetting his A2. This ignores defense. If they're under fear, true fear gives them increased attack. If they're under fear, true fear reduces the cooldown of the AoE 50% turn meter steal and fills his turn meter up. His A1. I think he's a grand champ. I think he's actually pretty good. And I think for faction, I think when he comes into faction wars hard, I actually think this guy's legit. This faction really struggles with staying alive, honestly, but they've got lots of turn meter decreasing and stuff. Like him plus Mikage. I actually just pulled him, believe it or not, last weekend.
Okay.
And I'm actually really expecting I'm going to be building and using him. I think he's going to be amazing for Faction Wars Hard. That passive, the A3, and then he's actually going to be a good damage. I think he's going to be juicy. I think he's going to be really useful. So yeah, I really disagree with this stuff. Now, a bit limited for sure, but I think he's fine. So there you go.
Yeah, I think he's pretty cool as well. I don't see how he's, unless the ratings came before he got buffed. I can't remember when he got buffed.
They probably did, yeah.
Yeah, in essence, you know, just the kit flows well in my mind.
Yeah,
you know, it will make sense.
There you go. You guys are wrong. YSC, let's pick one that's obviously a terrible champion. Nobody likes them. Nari the Lucky. Look at this. He's got sub 2.
Why are we still having these discussions in 2025, Nubs?
Sub 2 everywhere, YST. But you not agree?
I haven't agreed for years.
What? Tell us what's going on. Tell us why. The people.
Okay,
like
I'm not saying
Goblin.
the champion is without flaws. I don't think he's a trash champ, though. No.
Okay.
I think, you know, AoE provoke.
Yeah.
Good for Hydra, lockout decay. We've got a counterattack on this champion, good for mischief targeting or, you know, whatever that may be. Mm-hmm. Now, the counterattack, why it's so good on this champion is the A1 can go through and steal buffs back, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, whether that be the head of Wrath who gets increased attack or the reflect damage goes up, whatever that may be, these AoE attackers in Hydra, he's got that chance to come through and steal it. And it also pairs very well with the passive because at the start of this champion's turn, transfers a random buff from a random enemy to a random ally, which is nice. Mm-hmm. But the main thing for me is decreased accuracy and decreased resistance in the same skill on a 3-turn cooldown. Like, for progressing players in the Hydra boss, these are very dominant effects to literally take, you know, no effects, right? Mm-hmm. You just pair them with the increased resistance and you're sorted, in my opinion. So they're not the best champion. I think the main issue is the cooldown stuff. Bring that down to a 3-10 on the A3.
That would really boost him, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then that way you're not reliant on stuff like reflex to kind of cycle this round on time. Yeah. And then, I don't think he's a bad champion once you get those cooldowns on point.
Yeah, I agree. He's not too bad. He's not too bad. I mean, this part of the passive is a bit of a throwaway. More accuracy for every buff in each ally. Like, you're going to be building him with enough accuracy anyway, right? Because he's such a crucial debuffer. That's a bit weird.
I guess one thing that would I do to him?
You know what might be
cool?
to
make him a really top tier champion, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Give the A3 increased resistance to all allies, and then now that is a crazy kit. That's insane. A crazy kit if you do that.
Yeah. Decrease accuracy with increased resist. It'd be pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be too crazy. The 3-turn cooldown for the provoke, that seems pretty reasonable to me. I think that would be a nice. One thing that you could do, you could have him increase your team's accuracy for every buff on him. That could be nice. So the more buffs on him, or for every buff on each ally, he just gives them 5 accuracy, not just him. That could be nice too, because he's going to have enough, but your team might not. If you're bringing in decreased resist, that could be pretty cool as well. Something like that. But yeah, I think he's
average champion, but just not trash, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's not trash, but he's very average. YST, I'm going to hurt your feelings again.
Oh my god, it's just a heartbreak episode.
Growhack the bloody.
He done the crew traxer, now he's in the Growhacks.
Look at this. He's got 2 for faction wars, and then he's got 1.3, 1.4, couple of 1.7 for Fire Knight. Terrible
How
rating.
is that even possible? How? I really don't understand how he could be that low. Like,
I
okay,
think it's a
wait, do
bit
you want to go
harsh
first?
too.
Or am I going to do my bias first?
I mean, talk me through him. Like you obviously think he's
Okay,
much better, right?
I do, yeah. Like, I guess the main thing for me is what is he going to be good at? And for me, there's two primary areas. One, very good for Fire Knight for
Mm-hmm.
progression. Two, very, actually up there with one of the best for the Dark Fae, which is a boss that a lot of players struggle with. And that comes down to, let's just say, if anyone that knows the Dark Fae, you go through with that A2 on the opening phase,
Mm-hmm.
attack all enemies
Yep.
on the Unbound Anger. And then because he's going to be built with 100% crit rate, you're practically getting an extra turn if you crit on everybody. You then lead in with the A3, steal the turn meter and place a weaken. And then because you're stealing turn meter, you then lead into the A1 and then you place a decreased speed. And that kind of 1, 2, 3 combination, very good for finite waves into the boss and then also the Dark Fae against the boss. Outside of that, kind of a faction wars champ, Curse
Yeah.
City, nothing
Yeah.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But for what he is, like even spiders, like for people struggling with spiders, that's a full 10 meter steal there with a weaken.
He
And
does
a
have
speed aura of
yeah.
24%. That's not too bad for dungeons.
Yeah, I think he's okay.
Yeah.
I think you could give him a couple of small buffs, but I also agree. I don't think he's that bad. I think he's decent. Um,
Yeah.
I think one thing you could up his base speed. His base speed is very low at 96. You could easily
Yeah.
give him 10 more speed base, and that would be okay. You could be, I think something that could be nice. You could give him a passive that turns a proportion of his speed into accuracy. That could be kind of fun because he needs accuracy for his A3 and his A2. And it's you want to build him fast. It's quite difficult to build him fast with 96 base speed. Alleviating or mitigating some of that stat requirement would make him pretty cool. But I don't think he's that bad. I'm on Team YST. I'm with you here, where
Yeah,
I think he's
I think
okay.
okay. If I guess the one thing that could probably the community is not valuing is he's not the greatest nuker, right? And if
Hmm.
I'm not sure if that's what he's designed to be. Honestly, I think it's about
Yeah,
turbocharging his kit to do his effects and just some damage along the way.
yeah.
But maybe if you were just like cherry picking, maybe ignore some defense on the A2 or something, you know.
You could do
But
that
as a
too.
kit, the chances are good.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's pretty decent, yeah.
Yeah. There we go. All right. So we've broken YST's heart. YST, do you want to guess any other guesses for poorly rated champions?
Poorly rated champions. Honestly, right now, it could be anyone's guess, man. We don't know.
There's a good few. Yeah, there's a
I'm
lot.
thinking there's probably a lot that I could mention, but you
Mhm.
mentioned top 10, right?
Yeah, this is
Or
the
around
like
that
sort of
number.
top 10 worst.
I can't think of a.
I might have made a couple of mistakes because there's a lot. And I didn't like add them up painstakingly every rating. I just sort of eyeballed it. So I might be slightly off, but pretty sure it's the top 10. I'll show you guys all the honorable mentions as well that we collected on this. I can just dive in with one. There's one pretty obvious one in the high
Yeah.
elves. And it's Pixelil. Let's go with Pixelil. So Pixelil,
Okay.
again, a champion with a couple of buffs. He's got 2 in Ice Golem Peak and Faction Wars, and then Dreadful everywhere else. I think this is a bit harsh. I think people just sort of hate on her, but yeah, she's not great. So got the 3-turn increased defense, continuous heal, then AoE attack on frozen enemies that does a weaken. He has an AoE freeze on a 4-turn, and she has perfect veil on her A1. It's a bit random. She's immune to freeze. She gets turn meter whenever an ally is frozen. And at the end of each enemy or ally turn, this has a 2-turn cooldown. She removes all freeze debuffs from all allies. And that's Pixelil, resistant all battles aura. Yeah, I don't know. How do you feel? How do you feel about this champ? It's not great kit, and one massive thing that stands out is the amount of books that she needs.
I was
Is
just looking at the
ludicrous.
A1. That's actually
What is that?
horrific.
I know
What
it's a
is that?
joke. Yeah. It's
They just threw
ridiculous.
it that level 7 damage plus 10 was just an extra throw in it.
Yeah, I know. It's just an insult, really. Just so many
Yeah.
books that can
It's
go
like we
into
could
the
just
A1.
juice one, milk one more out, you know.
I know.
What do I think about Pixelil? I think, jeez, it's such a bad kit.
I think
I'd probably,
yeah, go on.
I would design it for Fire Knight.
Okay.
The-
So
That's what I would want from her. I think like make that A1 like a newt or something, you know.
Okay.
Like a triple hit freeze, great chance or something.
The old buff she got, she used to be a 5-hit at random, each hit placing freeze, which would have been amazing for new Fire Knight hard.
What was the chances for it? Was it like a high chance to place the freeze?
I don't know. I think it was a pretty high chance, yeah. But then they reworked it to just an AoE freeze, and everyone was like, oh, that's so much better. It's not this random hitting freeze thing. And then they came out with Fire Knight hard, and we were like, but wait, the old Pixelil would have actually been really useful for this.
Top tier, yeah, because you're cracking the shield,
yeah.
And all hits are directed at the boss because it's the only target, even being a random attack. I think it would have been really, really good. And, she does have increased defense and continuous heals. We've got weaken in there.
Yeah.
I guess the issue is conditionals. You can't really place the weaken on a Fire Knight if he was to. It's not really under the debuff.
Yeah.
A2's all right. I haven't got a problem with the A2. I think, an AoE freeze is just and a perfect veil on a.
Yeah. I tell you what,
I'm not a fan.
What I'd be probably doing, I think adding an extra turn into this would help. So AoE freeze on a 4-turn extra turn. So it's really a 3-turn at that point. And then you just, you AoE freeze, and then you go straight into AoE weaken with some buffs for your team. I think that would help. And then, as you said, her A1, I think you could probably add a chance on that to freeze as well. I think it'd be pretty reasonable and make her better for Fire Knight. And I'd probably be, potentially be removing this passive or reducing it to just a 1-turn cooldown. I think would be pretty reasonable as well. I think the cooldown on the active is too long.
Oh, damn, this whole time I thought it was just an always. Like,
no.
You have to book that as well. Jeez.
You have to book it, and it doesn't even go to, it goes to a 2-turn cooldown. So she has to take like 2 turns to do this again. Yeah. I think you could definitely improve that for sure.
I think that if she's been buffed, was it once or twice? I don't think it's.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, but those would be my suggestions. But yeah, Pixelil. Poor old Pixelil remains pretty bad. Again, she'd be okay, I'd say, for Faction Wars, but she could definitely do with a generous buff to take her out of meme category. Okay, up next, he was, I think, perhaps the first increase resist champion in the game. It's Borgar, the Elder. 2.3 for Faction Wars, 2 for Hydra. Terrible everywhere else. What's he got going on? He has a 4-turn cooldown, increase resist, increase speed. He has a 3-turn cooldown, remove 1 debuff from all allies and give them a 20% of his max HP shield. A1, increase defense on the lowest HP ally. 100% if it's critical, apparently. Bit weird. And allies take 10% less damage from champions whose resist is lower than or equal to theirs. And he's got a resist in all battles 50, not even 60. You hate to see that. Bit harsh. I don't know. How do you feel about Bor? I think he's dreadful. I think this guy's genuinely terrible.
Okay.
What do you think? You like him? You were going to say
I like him. I like the champ. I've liked him. Very similar to like a Nari thing for me. I guess it just comes down to a player who values something like increased resistance, right?
Yeah.
But I think the one thing that I would do is bring that down to a 3-turn cooldown, increase speed, increase resistance.
Yes.
That skill's fine in my opinion. I like that.
Yeah.
My main issue would be with the A2. I think removing 1 random debuff.
Yeah.
A bit average. Potentially just a full cleanse or maybe just a few more effects or something. Shield based on his max HP, not too bad. I think my main issue is base speed, bit too low. Bring down the cooldowns and give a better removing debuff value on the A2. And I'm cool with that.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, bang on. Yeah, I think it's really rough to have 2 turns of increased resist on a 4-turn cooldown. It's like, it's only up 50% of the time. So like, it's so unreliable.
Can't have those gaps. Yeah, it's the same thing with the Nari, right? It's just a lot of champions have these 4-turn cooldowns, and their potential comes from the 3-turn, unless you're relying on, reflex sets or relentless or whatever that may be. But,
I think 3-turn cooldown on this, and I think full cleanse there, and then he's not amazing, but he's much better, and that's an easy fix to a terrible champion. Next up, it's a champion who got buffed recently. It's Ultan of the Shell. So maybe this doesn't fully reflect his buffs, but my goodness, are the reviews.
Did he get buffed? I didn't even see that one.
He got buffed, yeah. So he now has, it's a 4-turn AoE, sleep, and decrease speed. If Awella is there, it's an AoE stun that ignores 50% resist, gives him 15% turn meter whenever the sleeps or stuns expire. And if Awella's on the same team, he gets an extra turn. So this got a massive buff. His A2 got reworked as well. It's a 3-turn cooldown, cleanses him by more for every debuff removed, gives him a shield proportional to attack, scales up for each debuff. Then he attacks, ignores shield, and does more damage for every debuff removed. His A1 is a double hitter. Each hit, 70% chance of decreased defense. Ignores 50% resist if Oella is there. If they're under increased defense, he can remove it and it can't be resisted. And yeah, he can decrease his skill cooldowns when healed by continuous heal. More if Oella is there. I actually think he's fine. Genuinely, I think he's all right. I think his biggest issue for me is that Oella is in a different faction, so it's very hard to use them together. But I think, look, an AoE stun that's going to give him an extra turn and a bunch of turn meter when the stuns expire is actually fine. That ignores 50% resist as well. I think it's actually pretty okay. That's my thoughts, but I don't know. Are you more in favor of more Ultan buffs?
I don't like him.
Fair. Okay.
I don't.
Why?
I don't.
Why? Probably most viewers agree, and they're like, nope, shut up.
Yeah, no, do you know what it is? It's like the A3 to me just reads like a Chronicler Adeline, you know, like a supporty type of champion kit, and then he's also a damage dealer on the A2. It's like, what do you want to be? I'm always a big fan of, if you're going to build a champion kit, make it kind of lean a lot into one direction other than trying to be a jack of all trades. And to me, that's what he is. He's just all over the place for me. I think if he was just a support champion and, you know, you're bringing all these debuffs and stuff, and I'd be more for it. But it's like players, you pull this dude's like, what am I building him for?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's just my takeaway from it. I could be wrong, but
no, that's fair. That's fair. I could definitely see the argument for sure. So you would want to like rework him probably quite a bit then.
A lot of it is banking on one of the biggest issues as well is the synergy. They're not in the same faction. It's like you can't really say faction wars because you're not going to get those stuns in faction wars, right?
That's the issue. Yeah, that's the issue.
You might not even get the stuns in Curse City if the faction is not popped up together, or
I
think a lot of it comes down to relying on Oella to get that debuff, and then it's like, where would you use them to get that debuff outside of dungeons? A lot of that, I'm not a fan.
Yeah. You know, fun fact, I think it was a mistake, but on the test server, when we first got Ultan, he was actually in Sylvan
Watcher, yeah.
He was a Sylvan Watcher with Oella, which would have made him way better. And Sylvan Watchers, they've gotten a few more damage dealers with like Kaldor and Arathia, but they were very low on damage dealers for a long time. I think if he had been a Sylvan Watcher, it would have really made him a lot better.
I will say one thing is like pretty good for, because I actually used Chronicler Adeline for my speed farm Sand Devil team.
Yeah,
I do like that combination of sleep and decreased speed, and being able to ignore damage resistance is really good for a progressing account. I will say that.
Yeah,
it's pretty damn good, because the reason why someone like Adeline is so good, in my opinion, compared to other sleep champions like a Cornelia, is you're actually immediately slowing down the boss, which means that someone like your Newt doesn't have to be as fast to cycle his second turn. For example, like I remember in my old team, Newt had to be around 270, right?
Yeah.
And in my current team, he can run at 230, which is a massive difference.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can kind of reset, get around to Newt's second skill before the boss takes a turn. I think that's a nice combination as one kind of upside. But...
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. For me, I've got a bold suggestion here, which is within new faction wars, or if they're planning some sort of alliance wars or something where there will be content where you can run them together, then I'd be fine. But presuming, and I think it's 99% certain that new faction wars is just the same as old faction wars but harder, I think I think do the first time ever, put him into Sylvan Watchers, change his faction.
I think that alone actually makes him huge. It's just you can't get the full benefit of him outside of a dungeon, which, you know, let's be real, it's legacy content, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right. Next up, then, we have an older fusion Rooric Wormbane. The Hound from Game of Thrones. I've been negative about this guy before. He's got, again, shocking ratings. Speed in all battles. He has 50% ignore defense nuke on his A3. That's not blocked by block active skills, and he uses it when counterattacking. His A2 decreases turn meter by 75%. If he fully depletes, he does a stun on all other enemies. Actually pretty decent. And was he buffed before, or was it always that? I don't remember. His A1 can stun, and he's immune to stun. He does more damage to bosses, takes less damage. Bam. Rooric. Everyone says he sucks. What are we thinking?
I've always liked him.
You like it? I've always hated him.
He's not. Do you know what it is? Is that kind of interact? He was the first champion where he kind of uses a different effect instead of a default skill when counterattacking. It was
Yeah,
actually one of the
true.
first of its kinds when he was released. And I remember, I'm not sure if you remember, back in the early days of Hydra, I remember doing. It was like one of the first ever playtests of Inquisitor Shamail interacting with a champion
Mm,
or something like that. I was doing something with this dude, right? And I
yeah.
was just always triggering him to do this against Hydra. I was like, damn, this is pretty cool with the counterattacking. But yeah, I think since then he's kind of just a faction wars curse city champion for me, you know?
Yeah.
Does some crowd control, does some nice damage. Does he need a bit of a buff? I would make the A2 AoE, personally.
Ooh, oh wow, whoa! AOE 75% turn meter deplete and stun. Listen, that's so overpowered. There is no way they would ever make a champion. That's absurd. Why on a 3-turn cooldown? You have
I
any
can't
idea
believe that just came out my mouth.
how broken that would be? Oh my god, you'd break the game.
I think if they was kind of worried about, you know, another Amon situation, whatever that may be.
Mhm.
If it's the thing is, he has to fully deplete to place the stun.
How
often?
You know, I'd make it. When just fully depletes enemy turn meter. Why not? I would.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the other change I would make, I think it's cool that he uses it when counterattacking, and like obviously there's got Valkyrie in this faction, but if you don't have Valkyrie, it's so awkward to use. What I would do is I would make this work on ally attacks as well.
That was the thing that I mentioned years ago. I was like, if this
Yeah.
was because I was actually seeing like the difference of how it works. If
Mm.
this was based on counterattack, that is absolutely busted because this ability does smack very hard.
Yeah.
It ignores 50% defense.
Yeah, yeah, but I think you make it work on ally attack, and like you've got Farrakhan within his faction. Obviously, ally attack is just really good in general.
Very nice aura as well for all battles.
Yeah, yeah,
nice.
and I think you'd be fine. 100% turn meter deplete A2. Work on ally attacks, and he's still not insane or anything, but he'd be a much better champion.
Oh, I know where I used him.
Where?
I know where I used him. It was Amius.
Oh, wow, okay.
Because I was doing when I was first struggling with Amius, I was doing the Valkyrie counterattack with Rooric always popping off the A3.
Uh-huh.
And because I didn't have like a max HP in that team. It was kind of like, I think Venomage, Snick Track, Valkyrie, Rooric. And he was just pumping it down. I had him in Brimstone. And he was just constantly just triggering that A3. It was pretty wild.
That's
pretty
cool.
Nice.
All right, I like it. All right, cool. Well, that's Rooric. So I'd say on the whole, we're actually, I think, a lot more positive, I think, generally about these champs than...
The thing is, we like kind of a niche weird champions as well, so it's not for everybody, right?
We do.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Rafmata. Again, terrible ratings. He was a guaranteed. I think he was actually... It's interesting what they did with him. I think they put him into the game, and on the day they released him, without any teasers or pre-access, I think they made him a guaranteed champion from Ancient Shards, actually. But he's very cheap. I think he's 120 Ancients, which was cheap. But I think he does kind of suck. Now, he is an increased resist champ. Unlike Borgar, at least they gave him 60 resist in all battles, not 50. Poor Borgar. They should definitely boost that with him. Terrible passive, by the way, but... He's got increased resist, reflect damage on the whole team on a 4-turn cooldown. He's got AoE provoke on a 3-turn with block damage on him. He can increase skills a bit on his A1. And then he gets bonus resist when his skills are not on cooldown, which is quite weird. And that's him. So, I don't know. How do you feel about him? I feel like he's pretty bad. Not dreadful, but pretty bad.
Yeah, I guess the only time I've ever seen him used was years ago to like solo Bommel.
Yeah.
That was like one thing that I've seen. I didn't realize that he had an AoE provoke on a 3-turn cooldown, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what's
the worst.
Like, that's okay. That's all right. AoE provoke.
I think the main issue with this champ, I think, is the A3. Bring that 3-turn cooldown and get the reflect damage out there. Give a better buff than that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it could be a pretty decent Hydra champion if they do that, honestly. What's his A1? Increase the cooldown of one of the target. Maybe just decrease the cooldown of like an ally instead. You know, like a Grand Oak Pardrake could be nice.
That could be cool.
Yeah, little tweaks. You
do build him with accuracy. To be fair, I guess that's one thing that's kind of awkward. He needs to have accuracy for his provoke and increasing their skills, but then he needs resistance to actually benefit from the increased resist. It's very strange.
Yeah.
What you could do, I think you could give him a Mithrala or Galathir type thing where he gets a bit of accuracy off his resist or vice versa, so he can benefit from increased resist and also have the accuracy required for this. That'd be okay. I definitely think reducing the cooldown would be nice. I mean, you could be pretty spicy. You could give this guy like counterattack for the team on a 4-turn.
They will never do it. I think
never do
they're
it.
gonna Valkyrie, Skull Crusher, Alaz, Marta.
Yeah, I know. And that's crazy, but I mean, I feel like he needs reflect damage is so shit. He definitely needs something more. Yeah. Definitely. And this passive is dreadful. What is this even supposed to be? This needs to be changed completely. Something like that. But okay, poor old Rafmata. I got him from the guaranteed. I don't think I've ever used him. And finally, one of the most expensive guaranteed champions in the game, 20 Sacred Shards for Roxam. Would you be happy with your 20 Sacred Shards? Well, the users are not. 2.3 for Faction Wars and 1 point whatever everywhere else. He barely fits on the screen, YST. Look at this guy. Yo, he doesn't even fit the camera. Roxam. What do we think about Roxam?
I don't know. I always think of that song like Roxanne.
Yeah.
I sing it with the Roxam.
Yeah.
He's a very. The thing is, he's all about perfect veil, right? If you can get perfect veil in the team, he's not that bad because he becomes an AoE, decreased defense, and weaken. Otherwise, just a single target, right?
Yeah.
A2 can smack, bit of crowd control on the enemy that he does smack. That bad, man. He's not. It's just can you get perfect veil around him? Because he can enable it himself, right? If you use the issues, you have to open with the A2.
Yeah. He's weird.
I can't remember.
So for the viewers, right, his A2 is 3-turn cooldown, gives him 50% turn meter. If he's got Veil or Perfect Veil, he stuns. If he doesn't, he'll sleep them, and he gives himself Perfect Veil for 2 turns. And then you go in with his A3, which is AoE decreased defense weaken and lowers the A2 cooldown. But if you don't have Veil or Perfect Veil, it's single target decreased defense weaken and gives him Perfect Veil.
The issue with him is the clash of cooldowns because you've got a 4-turn down to a 3 on the A2 and a 5-turn down to a 4. And I just found myself in weird cycles of not being able to always be under Veil himself.
Yeah. He also gives himself a whole bunch of buffs. Now, weirdly, block debuff strengthen for 1 turn and continuous heal for 2 when he gets Perfect Veil, which, again, for Hydra, where Perfect Veil and AoE decreased defense weaken would normally be quite good, this makes him, like, obviously a huge target for the Mischief Head, but not reliably so. So you kind of have to build him with loads of resist so he doesn't get all of his buffs and turn meter stolen, but then he's not going to reliably be the Mischief tank because these don't last long enough. It's quite weird. Very strange little champion. I
don't think he deserves that much.
Probably doesn't quite deserve the hate. No.
No, he's got some nice damage potential from the A2. You got a bit of crowd control if you need it. Put him with someone with Veil or set it up himself and get an AoE decreased defense and weaken, which for progressing players, I guess, is something that you find very valuable, right?
Yeah.
Before you get your Lydias because even Razin can't do AoE a single target, right? So something like this is perfect for progressing accounts.
Yeah.
But not the best, but not the worst. I think he's just an average, decent champ.
Yeah, I think you could definitely, as you said, with the cooldowns not matching up, making this a 3-turn, let's be honest, probably be totally fine. Yeah. Why not? And that would help him a bit. He still wouldn't be amazing or anything, but he's okay. Yeah, he's okay. Yeah. So there we go. They are the 10 worst champs, guys. Let me bring up the list here. We have a few honorable mentions that almost made it in. These are the honorable mentions. We had Rooric, Rishtov the Bold, Lysaea. I like her, but he's got terrible reviews. Elegias, Narma.
Elegias, I wasn't surprised of that.
No. Black Knight. Yoshi was a surprise. He's got real bad ratings. I think he's decent. Danag, Altan, Samar, Harvest Jack, the Incarnate. That's a recent champ. Most of the others are very old. War Mother, Skartosis, Alexander, and Drokgul. Mostly very old champions. A few of them have been buffed before, like Elegias, and still's terrible. The Incarnate's the only one who stands out that's actually in any way, shape, or form really new. But yeah, so they're the honorable mentions. So let me know what you think. Who do you think's the worst champ in the game? Do you agree with our ideas for fixing them up? Were we too kind or too harsh on anyone? And what do we think of the in-game ratings and all that? Let us know in the comments. And YST, anything to say for the end of the video?
I just appreciate you having me on. It's been nice talking about these
Terrible champs.
Crazy, terrible champs.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely a great topic. Cool.
Yeah, cool. Well, we're going to jump on. Ooh, let me hide that because we're going to be jumping onto YST's channel to talk about some more terrible champs. We did voids and non-voids on my channel. We're going to be talking about the Doom Tower champions, the worst of the worst, and the worst mythicals as well over on YST. So we'll see you over there. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.